Lovely good evening. Welcome to the main news on Muvi television. Let's have a look at the headlines. President Hichilema urges private sector to invest in energy. Chief Nyalubwe blasts PF, stop politicizing late President Lungu's funeral. VP Nalumango says load shedding hours drop as Kafue River water levels rise. UPND's Batuka Imenda calls for fair constitutional reforms across provinces. Taxi driver sentenced to 7 years for Chipota Mobile City break-in. Good evening once again. With the detail, my name is Kondwelani Jose. President Hakainde Hichilema has called on Zambia's private sector to invest in the energy industry to reduce reliance on the national grid. Speaking at the 4th Public-Private Dialogue Forum, PPDF, Private Sector Day in Lusaka, the president highlighted reforms under his administration, including tariff blending, open access, and support for independent power producers aimed at creating a more dynamic and investment-friendly energy sector.
To set other targets such as energy. Our target now is to move electricity generation to 10,000 megawatts, 10 gigawatts. Automatically, one target leads us to another. Otherwise, we will not be able to achieve the copper production targets. That's a conversation I wanted to have with this private sector platform sitting in the public sector today. So we have to redouble our efforts in electricity. And what a good business. I keep on saying to Zai Robinson, we farmers tend to think in a flat way. We're great people, but sometimes we think in a flat way. You don't have to complain about load shedding because Guy, Kushia Farm, your neighbors, you can come together and do 2 megawatts, 3 megawatts, and you don't have to worry about your center peoples. There will be power there. You will also be throwing the difference onto the grid through our reforms again in the energy sector. Net metering, open access, independent power producers, independent traders, power blending, tariff blending, not power blending, tariff blending. These are the reforms this government has brought in place. Without the energy reforms, after the drought, would have shut this economy down. But I hear complaints.
Vice President Mtale Nalumango has revealed that the recent reduction in load shedding hours being experienced across the country is largely due to improved water levels in the Kafue River, which have boosted electricity generation at the Kafue Gorge Power Station. Addressing Parliament, Mrs. Nalumango says power output at Kafue has significantly increased compared to previous months, and further noted that electricity imports and the rollout of alternative solar projects championed by the Ministry of Energy under President Hakainde Hichilema have also helped stabilize supply. She was responding to a follow-up question from Ghana Member of Parliament, Binwe Mpundo.
Put it, madam. When he says, miraculously, and you will be surprised, more miracles are coming to those without full understanding. Zambians expect things to happen by this government. One reason why load shedding is reducing is the natural one. The increased water in the Kafue, not in the Kariba. It's true. It's increasing. I like that. When I see my young son Simumba from Nakonde, totally shocked. Miracles shock people. And we are able to play the game right. There is more water today in the Kafue. Please check. That is the truth. I personally have gone and seen this part of the country. Just the rainfall that came, my concern was disaster. Believe you should be following. You have to see which part of the country is there enough or too much rain. My concern when I saw the water in the Kafue was, are we going to be battling floods? Just 1 month ago. This is the fact, colleagues. Yes. I'm not making it up. Yes. So Kafue right now is generating a little more. Yes. I have not been told about Kariba because I haven't even been there, but it is more of Kafue. You understand? It is where does the water come from, not the water falling in the Kariba. Then you think this one will fill. No. It comes from up there and it moves. Yeah. Those are the miracles. What I've said, to make it clear, madam, is I'm talking about Kafue has increased its generation. Okay? It is our hope that Kariba will also increase its generation as the water level.
Chief Nyaluwe of the Senga people has taken a firm swipe at the Patriotic Front, accusing the party of turning the funeral of the late former President Edgar Lungu into a political contest instead of allowing the nation to mourn with dignity. Speaking on Thursday in Eastern Province, the traditional leader says it was unacceptable and un-Zambian for the PF to push succession debates before the former head of state has even been buried. He reminded the nation that President Lungu himself only assumed leadership after the burial of President Michael Sata, adding that respecting a funeral is a core cultural value. Chief Nyaluwe also questioned the continued delay over 6 months after the former president's death and raised fresh concern over where the remains are being kept, insisting that burial at the already prepared Embassy Park site should take place before any political procession resume. He appealed to the new Dawn administration to help bring closure, saying prolonged delays only deepen national discomfort and disrespect tradition.
There is no way kuti vachipani PF can be on the forefront kusakira president wa upadera. Pamene the one who was the founder, echitosidi wanaye maroka through the late Sata. Act on my behalf panu Rwanda. For sure Zambians came close together na kumu ikapo Edgar Chagwadongo. Edgar was not elected. Mui katira pa acting position where least Sata was still down. Mpaka na kumwarira, and then him took over. He was not elected. He came to be elected after Mariro Vasata. Machuwa na ijo mpaka. Kuti Mariro is something which need to be respected. Ni pechi zoto na udindo Edgar Chagwadongo. He did well. Mpaka na infra yake hii. Kama tutisokoneza chatusambwisha ni kusaikiwa kwa Mariro wake. What is the problem? Chovuta ni change muntu akamwarira ofune kuiki wa manda. Oroneo nikamwarira rero mairo 2, 3, 4 days later I'm buried. Machona. So that is the role which we need to take as Zambians traditionally. So ngati opposition ava osakira kuika po president mwekine before the other one is not buried. It's unfoundable. Ni mwambodini. This is now political. But Chatu Pempa, through the new Dawn government, let this body be buried. To my not understanding, is the body still in the refrigerator or what? Or is still hidden somewhere? But we want to see him being buried. The graveyard is already being dug through the Imbas Park for his burial. But this is not being founded. Tienti chikonke ichi. Ngati ni opposition indareza kufuna later, but let's first bury the dates. But we end up there, and then they can start now politicking themselves. Be buried first.
The United Party for National Development, UPND, Batuka Imenda, has urged Parliament to consider constitutional reforms that prioritize equity and fairness across all provinces, dismissing claims that the party is pursuing changes for partisan gain. Speaking after presenting to the Parliamentary Select Committee on the Conditional Review Commission, Mr. Imenda described the Constitution as a living document, noting that certain provisions drafted decades ago have become outdated and need revision. Mr. Imenda highlighted concerns over the current allocation of resources to constituencies, which he said fails to reflect geographic size or population needs. He emphasized that the party's proposal covers all 10 provinces and are guided by the principle of one Zambia, one nation, one people, rejecting accusations that the reforms are targeted toward UPND strongholds. This is not about political advantage. It is about fairness and service to all Zambians. The UPND's submission to the Review Commission underscores its commitment to democratic reforms aimed at equitable representation, fair distribution of resources, and strengthened governance across Zambia.
To state that a constitution is a living document. Living in the sense that it moves with time. At a time when a constitution is being drafted, certain issues could not be addressed at that time, and some of them become moribund on account of time. So, say for example, the issues of delimitation. Delimitation talks about geographical issues, the size of the constitution, not necessarily the numbers of people. So a constitution might be delimited on account of the size, so that it makes representation easier. There's also equally population density. Population density is also another issue which makes it easier and relevant for a constituency to be delimited. As I studied earlier before the select committee, we discussed about the issue of economic value to the people in a constituency. Take an example of the current allotment of 40 million kwacha given to each and every constituency. Certain constituencies benefit on account of size. Others lose on account of vastness of of a constituency. So it's those that we are focusing to be cut into two, so that the people of those areas will be looked at.
Government has applauded the progress of the Girls' Education and Women's Empowerment and Livelihoods Program, popularly known as JEWEL, saying the initiative is making a measurable difference in the lives of vulnerable women and girls in Wapula Province. During a courtesy call in Mansa, Acting Provincial Permanent Secretary Evans Sikabuba highlighted that interventions under JEWEL, including supporting women's livelihoods, keeping girls in school, and the social cash transfer scheme, are strengthening household incomes and keeping more girls in school. He added that the program's transparent beneficiary selection and emphasis on capacity building have earned strong community confidence. Officials say more than 12,000 girls in Wapula are currently supported under the KGS initiative, while over 153,000 beneficiaries are receiving social cash transfers, figures they describe as evidence of the program's growing reach and success.
Dear women, before training, could see that maybe the neighbor is making just maybe fritters, and then she also wants to venture. But you have realized, have observed that during, as they are starting their capacity building trainings, people start seeing other economic, other business opportunities. So this is very okay. And I think there are more success stories to people who have been empowered after training as compared to an empowerment which comes without training. It's dangerous, actually. Yes. But where people are empowered, this we appreciate. And when you look at, there was a year
financing a number of components, including social cash transfer, keeping girls in school, under education, support for women livelihoods, under community development. Of course, SCT is social welfare. There is also a fourth component which is yet to be rolled out to the whole country, which is nutrition sensitive social cash transfer, which is being implemented under Ministry of Health. Part of the implementation requires that we get back on the ground just to check how things are going, to ensure that if there are any bottlenecks in implementation.
A 26-year-old taxi driver of Magazine Township in Chepata has been sentenced to 7 years imprisonment after he admitted breaking into a Mobile City phone shop last month and stealing over 1,900,000 kwacha in cash, while his accomplices pleaded not guilty. Adamson Lungu was jointly charged with motorbike rider Geoffrey Mwale, sales assistant Maurice Mwale, Mount Meru manager Brian Nkunika, security guard Enosi Sakala, and another suspect, all of whom denied the charge of breaking into a building and committing a felony. Lungu admitted breaking into the shop and stealing 1,488,225 kwacha and 21,777 United States dollars. According to the statement of facts before Chepata resident magistrate Betty Mwinga on the 17th of November 2025, the complainant closed his shop for the day and went home. The following morning, at around 8 hours, he received a phone call informing him that the shop had been broken into. He rushed to the trading area and later reported the matter to Chepata Police Station, where the total value of stolen items was established to be over 1,900,000 kwacha. Police investigations led to the arrest of Lungu, and officers recovered a motor D2301, mobile phone, and 2,670 United States dollars from his parents' home in Chadiza, where he had relocated after the crime. The court has since convicted and sentenced Lungu to 7 years imprisonment with hard labor, effective from the date of his arrest, while the trial for the remaining accused persons is scheduled for the 22nd of December 2025. Chepata City Council has warned food outlets operating with uncertified workers to comply with the Food Safety Act of 2019 or face sanctions. In a statement issued by Assistant Public Relations Officer Grace Lungu, the council expressed concern that despite food handlers applying for medical certification between October and November, only 318 were cleared to safely handle food, far below the number of food businesses operating in the district. The local authority further reminded business owners that allowing staff to work without valid food handlers' certificates is illegal and poses a direct risk to public health, adding that enforcement will soon commence alongside checks for the renewal of 2026 trading licenses before 31st December 2025.
Chipata City Council, through its Public Health Department, did award a total of 318 food handler certificates for the period between October and November 2025. The local authority is, however, concerned with this number, that despite having a great response from the people, it is still worrying that despite the number of food outlets operating within the district, we only have this small number of people that are certified fit to handle food for human consumption. And therefore, as a local authority, we would like to take this opportunity to warn business owners and those trading in food outlets to ensure that the people they are employing, or rather the people selling food in their restaurant shops or even hotels, have this food handler certificate. As a local authority, we would like to take this opportunity to remind business outlets to ensure they have their employees renew the food handler certificate. As doing so, will ensure that they operate within the confines of the law. Operating food outlets without the required certification is a direct violation of the provisions of the Food Safety Act number 7 of 2019. So as a local authority, this is a reminder, as we also remind people that have not renewed their trading permits for the year 2026 to do so, as the so is closing down.
Zambia and Norway have reaffirmed their commitment to strengthening cooperation in climate action, environmental protection and sustainable development following a high-level bilateral meeting between Zambian High Commissioner to Kenya, Alfred Musemuna, and Norway's Minister of Climate and Environment, Andreas Gerhard Eriksen, in Nairobi. High Commissioner Musemuna, who conveyed President Hakainde Hichilema's warm greetings, hailed Norway as a long-standing and dependable partner in Zambia's green transition, noting its support for institutional capacity building and community-focused environmental programs. The two officials discussed expanding collaboration in carbon markets, forest conservation, climate resilience, and green finance, with Minister Eriksen confirming Norway's readiness to sign a cooperation agreement in Osaka in January 2026, a move expected to further consolidate the growing partnership.
Low carbon emission environment. We want to make our economy still be resilient. We may wish the Honorable Minister that last year we had devastating effects, and our power generation is 80% hydro. So, but we have the longest, probably the most challenges in terms of the effects of climate change. So we didn't have sufficient rainfall. So our power generation was impacted. We are predominantly a mining country. 70% of our foreign exchange reserves or earnings come from mining. So you cannot mine without power.
Need more collaboration and not less to tackle the big challenges that we are facing. And Norway at least is committed to continue working together with like-minded countries who also see the need to collaborate to find solutions to create the best possible pathway going forward. I think it's good.
A youth activist from Serenje District, Central Province, has sounded the alarm over a sharp rise in teenage pregnancies and sexually transmitted infections, STIs, in the area. Speaking at the Youth Indaba held at the Provincial Resource Center, Peter Chola Mwanalesa described the situation as dire after Ministry of Health statistics showed that 2,432 new teenage pregnancies and 2,568 STI cases were recorded in 2025 among girls aged 10 to 24. Mwanalesa called on all stakeholders, including government, development partners, and community leaders, to take urgent action to curb the crisis. He also urged young people to lead by example emphasizing the importance of responsible behavior and the use of protection to prevent further infections. The youth Indaba brought together representatives from the Zambia Police Service, the Drug Enforcement Commission, clergy, and local authorities to discuss strategies for tackling the growing challenge.
Go. Okay, I'm calling upon all the key stakeholders in the district, you see, to look into this issue of teenage pregnancies, also the issue of new infections of STIs, as well as the gender-based violence. In addition, also to the drug abuse. It's very worrying that the Serenge district can record 2,000 plus new infections of STIs, 2,000 plus teenage pregnancies just for 2025. It's very worrying, meaning that by the end of 2025, we are going to have more than that. So I'm calling upon all the stakeholders to come on board, sensitize, educate, and let us do whatever that we can do, all the means that we can do in order for us to reduce these numbers. These are not good numbers. For young people, I'm appealing to you, please, if you cannot abstain, use condom. Consult. If you don't have any information, if you want to know anything, consult. Go to the the DEC, go to the hospital, even to the council, as well as the police, so that you can also get more information. It's very worrying. As an activist, I'm very much worried that we have those numbers before the end of 2025, that Serenge is recording. It is still recording numbers of new infections of STIs, such as syphilis, gonorrhea, and the other issues. Then also we are still recording the numbers of teenage pregnancies from the age of 10 to 24. It's very worrying that we can even reach to 2,000 plus new teenage pregnancies, meaning we are not doing enough as a district. I'm calling upon all the people, including traditional leaders, youths, politicians, all the stakeholders, please, can we come on board? Can we start?
Civil society organizations in Zambia are welcoming the announced. Let me take that again. Civil society organizations in Zambia are welcoming the announcement that Cabinet has approved the Zambia Tobacco Control Bill for submission to Parliament. The bill is seen as a landmark step towards protecting the health of Zambians, preventing addiction among young people, and aligning the country with its obligation under the World Health Organization Framework Convention on Tobacco Control, WHO FCTC. Speaking at a media briefing in Lusaka, Tobacco Free Association of Zambia youth advocate Kumbuso Piri highlighted the devastating health costs of tobacco, saying that economic gains from tobacco are illusionary, as no amount of money can equal the lives, adding that the economic benefits of tobacco are far outweighed by the health costs, and it's unacceptable that the industry continues to flourish while public health suffers. Jemima Piri, also a Tobacco Free Association of Zambia youth advocate, who read the speech on behalf of civil society in Zambia, says tobacco harm reduction claims that restricting flavor, setting string, health warnings, and imposing inappropriate regulation will push people to smoking. This argument has no basis in independent evidence, especially in low prevalence settings like Zambia, among others.
From tobacco are illusionary, but the health costs are devastating. Any investment into tobacco production, processing, and distribution undermines public health, violates the World Health Organization Framework Convention on Tobacco Control, WHO FCTC provisions. Despite Zambia ratifying the World Health Organization Framework Convention on Tobacco Control nearly 2 decades ago, our nation still does not have a comprehensive Tobacco Control Act. In the absence of this critical law, tobacco addiction continues to rise, particularly among young people, with more than 7,000 Zambians dying every year due to tobacco control-related illnesses. Yet, while public health protections remain stilled, the tobacco industry continues to flourish, most recently with a claimed $30 million United States investment in a tobacco processing in Kawe Central Province.
Misleading claims by the so-called Tobacco Harm Reduction Group. Civil society organizations in Zambia warmly welcome the announcements of the cabinet has approved Zambia Tobacco Control Bill for submissions to Parliament. This is a landmark step towards protecting the health of our people, preventing addiction among young Zambians, and aligning the country with its obligations under the WHO Framework Convention of
Mukushi South Member of Parliament, Davis Chisopa, has urged the government to urgently settle payment owed to maize farmers in Luano District Central Province, warning that delays could undermine household food security ahead of the 2025-2026 farming season. Speaking during the burial of the late Sebenzani Mwanza, Senior Chief Chikupili's advisor for the Twikatane community in Masansa, Chisopa expressed concern that farmers already experiencing good rains are anxious as they prepare to plant, while payments for supplies delivered to the Food Reserve Agency (FRA) remain outstanding. The lawmaker also lamented the late distribution of farming inputs under the Farmer Input Support Program (FISP), describing it as a threat to crop yields and calling on the Luano District Commissioner, Kels Meleki, and his team to treat the matter as an urgent priority. Luano District.
Mukesatoro mpambo imwa so ichefa ikatwafu abantu abo bambi abali pano tabeka mumasansala bambi abali pano icho beka lile ku fertilizer nomwafuma pano ba DC mukuteko para bale fresh fertilizer mu FHT watwafu ako abantu bakoko mfundo era tuisho mfundo balepo katuma wanu paki abali 15 tuma 15 paki no balanda tupesherungu kwendamo na twendamo lelo twinga mulomba ko bechakuterangu twinga chepa twafuyisheni abantu abali kuno belane shishingi basende omufundo bale yakumayanda bale mukubyala mfuleyi tayirolela so ebashiwe olinga mulomba ko fyakalamayo ifo twakulanda pamondo naye mwe bali panshi naye mwe landa mwabe bati awo chishinga wale landa ba MP inenga nabo za parliament naye mwe bali kuno kunshi naye mwe alanda awo chishinga tatula bafresha abantu abatawa so kumutotera mbali mwe beshire bonse kumkurosha nero twala losha mwende okutendero mwala bwerera mwanatotera mpani.
Luano District Commissioner Kels Meleki has assured farmers that the majority who supplied maize to the Food Reserve Agency during the 2025 crop marketing season have already been paid, while urging those still waiting to remain patient. Speaking during the burial of the late Sebenzani Mwanza, Senior Chief Chikupili's advisor for the Twikatane community in Masansa, Meleki acknowledged concerns raised by Mukushi South MP Davis Chisopa, emphasizing that the government is committed to ensuring all farmers receive their due payments. At the same event, Mukushi District Commissioner Jonathan Kapungwe added that delays were not deliberate, noting that FRA received surplus maize following a bumper harvest and extended its targets to allow more farmers to benefit from their produce.
season yani kwa kushika amatabai sana kabili mwaka huo Zambia yasa produce amatabai sana okuchamanya kashionse ni uno mwaka kwa elio na budget inofwe yali kabila baranda yali kwa ino watu katakama tawa kulingana ngapa elo manje amatabai tsani yafula so tatwaje wakaipwete feshi nawe waya kwa rashka yonse na pali choteko na upeka nyeri pia mkwai hose mwana afure pia kwa ula ukose isheka ngafundile wala bile mkwai ni pressure ze akulire ejo mwapa jekele jawa matu chirapo matu mwapa kele mkwai ubisa kuika shida fertilizer limwe vitu kwe kwata ko ukutashai nefa atwende mwishi last year elio kwapele fertilizer ya physical wali wa agreement imo oyo twapangene na farmers iyo agreement yali yakwebati nga mwasombola uwasenda 1 pack ya fertilizer nga mwasombola at least mwashisha kwa government amasaka yanga ya 10 only 10 bags bali 1 pack icho njalanda ebyo chiri kabile to fyani ukuchila pampendwa twalingile okushika icho nachibika pressure kuchipawo cha chalo nokuba ichipawo cha chalo bachishile myunga bali abaliko nomba ilelo unobuteko bulefwayo kweba tubombe shishibe kuno shishibe iyo nachilaisa nachitumina ng'ando kukabwe wakwefwaraye natumina na mutumba accountant ukweba tilimwe mwilako kola ukulete ndalama shabantu kumabanki bantu ubuteko nga bwachitalirizi ndalama okufuma kutulejali tumeni ndalama kumabanki bakutila abantu bangufyanye basende ndalama shabo ukwekubomba ukobuteko bulechita nachumfati.
Small, Medium and Enterprises Minister Elias Mubanga has called on Zambian journalists to be innovative and strategic in their reporting, emphasizing their critical role in informing society and promoting investment and enterprise. Speaking during the second edition of the Citizen Economic Empowerment Commission Media Awards held in Lusaka, Minister Mubanga urged journalists to uphold professional and ethical standards while using their platforms to empower citizens and highlight opportunities in the business sector. He further assured that his ministry will continue collaborating with the media to communicate its mandate and vision, reinforcing efforts to improve livelihoods and support economic growth across the country.
Government, we do not see the media just like any other stakeholder. We regard you as our strategic partner, crucial partner in our national development. When the media tells a story of empowerment, it ignites aspirations. When it highlights opportunities, it aspires action or inspires action. For this reason, collaboration between private sector and the public sector, it is very strong. And we want to say, we want to stand together so that we can stay.
The Ministry of Tourism and the Zambia National Commission for UNESCO have successfully concluded a 4-year project to safeguard Kuyavila, the traditional poetry of the Tonga people in Southern Province. The initiative, supported by UNESCO with 83,000 $790 United States focused on preserving Kuyabila as a vital medium for transmitting oral history, cultural knowledge, and identity through drums. Speaking at the 20th session of the Intergovernmental Committee for the Safeguarding of the Intangible Cultural Heritage in New Delhi, Ministry of Tourism Chief Cultural and Folklore Officer, Mr. Thomas Mambo Mubita, highlighted the project's achievements, including the documentation of 40 poems, production of a video documentary, publication of a book, and integration of Kuyabila into education and cultural activities in Monze and Namwala districts. Mr. Mubita expressed gratitude to UNESCO for its support, noting that the project has strengthened community ownership, renewed pride in the tradition, and promoted wider recognition of Kuyabilo in cultural and educational platforms.
Zambia wishes to express its sincere appreciation to UNESCO for the international assistance provided towards safeguarding the Kuyabila, the traditional poetry of the Tonga people of Southern Province. This as an important medium for transmitting oral history, knowledge, and cultural identity. With UNESCO's international assistance, a safeguarding project was implemented in 2 districts in southern province of Zambia to strengthen the viability of Kuyabila. The project successfully raised awareness about the 2003 convention by conducting a number of community meetings and working with local media and traditional leaders. It also built capacity by training 42 stakeholders in community-based inventorying, resulting in greater understanding and ownership of safeguarding practices. Documentation of Kuyabila was a major achievement. 40 poems were recorded. A book was published and a video documentary capturing performances, interviews, and safeguarding stories was produced. An inventory of poems across key themes such as marriage, initiation, funerals, farming, health, and education was completed.
Muchinga Province Minister Njavwa Simutowe has empowered 138 community groups in Lavushimanda district with a church totaling 3,736,935 kwacha and 16 ngwe under the Constituency Development Fund program. In addition to the financial support, Minister Simutowe handed over a set of earth-moving machinery valued at 6,969,620 kwacha, including a tipper truck, low-bed truck trailer, a 5,000-liter water bowser, and a tractor. Addressing beneficiaries during the handover ceremony, Mr. Simutowe urged them to utilize the funds and equipment responsibly to improve livelihoods and contribute to the district's social and economic development, reaffirming the government's commitment to ensuring that CDF reaches communities at the grassroots.
Let us guard these machines jealously. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm also pleased to hand over check to CDF loans beneficiaries, totaling this 3,736,935 kwacha and 16 ngwe, which will be dispersed to 138 beneficiaries. These funds demonstrate the new government's commitment to deliver tangible development across Manda district. This assistance will significantly change lives by creating jobs and improving access to
malelo mbese ashua bonsa bala ama beneficiaries abalapo ka amaron twachumfa kuli ba DC bachilanda okutata abantu babwesha ichocho tulelanda kuli ba minister wesu ukutila amaloni o twalapo kapabushikubwa lelo tufire twagwesho okulingana nolupapulo.
Chief Government Spokesperson Cornelius Mweta has emphasized the importance of maintaining civility and respect in public discourse, especially when discussing contentious issues like Bill number 7, acknowledging the support from various groups, including labor movements and student organizations. Speaking at a media briefing in Lusaka, Mr. Mwetwa says that any amendments to Bill number 7 must be within the bill's original objects as specified in the 13 items, stating that the technical committee's consultations may have raised extraneous matters, but these can't be incorporated into the bill if they are not part of its original objects. He further assured that Bill number 7's publication in the Gazette meets the constitutional requirements as Article 79 outlines the process for constitutional amendments, adding that opposition allegations of illegality may be unfounded based on the Constitution.
My desk here has received worrying information about those aligned to opposing Bill 10, those who were beneficiaries of shoddy contracts and corrupt deals under the former administration, putting monies together to buy members of parliament to vote against Bill number 7. We call upon the conscience of members of parliament that this is not a bill for UPND or anybody. This is a bill meant to increase the number of women, the number of youth, and differently abled in Parliament. This is a bill meant to create certainty of our law as we go to 2026 general elections in terms of amendment of Article 52.6 and Article 103 to do with electoral petition by addition of a word, hitherto, determine. That is what this bill is rooted into, to ensure that the unity and peace of this nation can hold firm before, during, and after the elections. There should be no room for uncertainty. And allow me also to thank all our citizens with divergent views, those who are supporting and those who are opposing. Our appeal is that we remain civil in our language to one another, because in a democracy, there is no need to sing one song, but that the majority carry the day, because democracy is about the rule of the majority. But even minority voices should be respected. That the labor movement and the student movement are on one side with the government over a constitutional amendments proposal. It's the first time. So those who are opposing, they should introspect. ZCTU represents thousands and thousands of workers of this country. The student leadership represents thousands and thousands of students across the nation. So, for all of us who are commentators, can we also care to ask ourselves, how many people do I represent over my opposition over Bill 7?
After a disappointing loss to Green Eagles ladies, Indian Roses head coach Rex Chanda says his team is fully prepared to reclaim winning form. Speaking to journalists, Chanda highlighted the squad's strong character in training this week, noting improvements in attacking play and corrections of past mistakes. Indian Roses will face Kamfinsa Police Blue Eagle Queens away this Saturday in their Week 15 clash. Currently sitting 6th on the log with 28 points, Chanda remains confident that both experienced and young players are ready to step up and deliver a positive result.
We are very much prepared for the game against Kamfinsa. After losing to Green Eagles, we've been working so hard to work on the errors and the mistakes that we saw, and as seen, the team is looking sharp and ready for the game against Kamfinsa. We are going there not with the attitude of underration that made us lose the game against them last time we played in Kitwe. And we are taking it very, very seriously. and we are aware of their key players, and it's a very good side. That is why there's no team in this Premier League for the women that any team can underrate. It's a very good side, and we are going there with the strength that we've acquired through hard training that we've been doing, to make sure that we come back to our winning ways against countries. The game against the Eagles.
A recap of the headlines. President Hichilema urges private sector to invest in energy. Chief Nyalobwe blasts PF. Stop politicizing late President Lungu's funeral. VP Nalumango says load shedding hours drop as Kafue River water levels rise. UPND's Batuka Imenda calls for fair constitutional reforms across provinces. Taxi driver sentenced to 7 years for Chipata Mobile City break-in. That concludes the news this evening. On behalf of the entire Muvi TV news crew, my name is Kondwelani Jose. Stay blessed and good evening.
Are you a parent looking for a school with values-driven ethos and a firm belief in an all-encompassing Christian education for your child? Then look no further. At Gospel Outreach Christian Academy, we make the educational experience of your child as rewarding as possible. Offering an excellent reading program that gets our reception children reading within 6 weeks. And examination practice packages tailored to prepare our learners sufficiently for final exams, helping your child make the passing choice to holistic education. A school that believes in helping struggling students get up to speed, providing for the mind, body, and soul. Enroll your child in any of the grades from baby class to grade 12 and enjoy flexible payment plans with up to 5% discount for payments made during school holidays. For information, call 0979-404809. Gospel Outreach Christian Academy. Excellence through Christian education. Scan the QR code to apply. Get in touch with us on 0972 568195. Get in touch with us on 0972 568195.